Joining us now in the studio is Abiola Salami, leadership business consultant. Thank you very much for coming on the news.
Thank you for having me.
What's your immediate reaction to the caliber of nominees we have?
On the ministerial list?
Yes.
I don't think it is a ministerial list. I think it is more of a compensation list. And compensation in itself is not a bad thing because people who have worked to ensure that the party wins the election, it is okay. But the issue with a compensation list is competence is not necessarily looked into before the selection. And if we're talking about change, next level, improvement, whatever desire we have for the country, we want to be sure that the people we have at the helms of affairs are those who are competent enough to do the work.
Are you saying that these nominees, they don't have the competence to execute whatever responsibility is given to them?
I don't see competence on that list. I see compensation on that list. Again, like I said...
Well, there are returnees on that. Are you saying that when they were here the last time, they didn't do well and they made it to the list the second time?
I am not saying they didn't do well. The facts are there for anybody to check. When you're in office, maybe you even said something like it would take a serious government 6 months or 3 months, 11 months to stabilize some particular ministry, and you were given a charge of that ministry, and after 4 years we couldn't see any progress. So should there be any debate about if the president performed or not? So this is not my opinion. This is the facts that are available in the public sphere.
What do you expect that these people that you've said don't have the quality to, execute the responsibility? What do you expect to see in the next 4 years then?
So I don't expect anything better. That is because we don't have competent people on that list where it's a compensation list, like I said. What would require is to have people who are perhaps non-politicians who can do the job. Put someone who is passionate about education, let the person be in charge of the ministry. Put someone who is passionate about tech, let the person be in charge of the ministry. Put someone who has achieved some results in power, let the person be in charge of ministry. I'm not having someone with a legal background and having the person in charge of a ministry like that. I'm saying that it is important that if we're serious about progress, that we should look for people who have a proven track record in a particular ministry and have them there.
Does that have a bearing on your decision that these people are not competent, that there is no portfolio? This is something that was discussed the previous time when ministerial list was submitted. They don't attach portfolios to the names. It's only after the screening. Would it have helped if they were given portfolios and senators were able to ask them questions?
No, but that's to show you the hypocrisy with this. That's to show you the insincerity with this. Just bring out a bunch of names and tell them those are the people on the list without necessarily confirming the offices that they would occupy. If we're a serious set of people and we are looking for meaningful progress, it will be to have this list. It won't have more than one person in front of a particular office. And so the Senate is now supposed to do a screening and let them say, based on our engagement with this individual, based on our engagement with this 5 people nominated for this one office, we think this person is the most competent. So therefore, let us choose this person. But because it is a selection list, because it is a compensation list, then you just bring up a bunch of people who have been faithful to the party. And again, there is nothing wrong about party loyalty. There's nothing wrong about party faithfulness. There's nothing wrong about compensation. It's just that when you are looking for meaningful progress, compensation is not the way to choose who should lead. I can't imagine in the private sector, for example, that because somebody has been good to me, and maybe I'm leading a Fortune 500 company, so because somebody has been good to me, because somebody helped me, not even because somebody helped us to make a sale, and the person not a salesperson, and there you now say the person becomes the director of sales. It doesn't work that way. Get competent people to do the job.
Let me, to use your word, the lack of the compensation list now does not have, some people say, the 35% affirmative action for women and as well as youths. They said the list name that, in fact, there is no 40-year-old in the entire 43 names that were submitted to the Senate. What's your take on this? Is it that the women did not participate enough to deserve some sort of compensation? Because going by the record that Anna gave to us, over 60% of the population is made up of women and youth, and that is the highest number that's participated in the voting exercise. Okay,
now you talked about youth. It depends on the age we are using to determine who a youth is, especially in Nigeria's case.
We know it's 18 to 35.
Okay, now in Nigeria's case, because you could find someone who is almost 60 who's in charge charge of young people. But what to think of is this. I don't blindly believe in the 35% affirmation. I don't blindly believe in it. But what I believe in regarding that affirmation, that 35%, is that are there competent young people and competent women to fill these offices? The answer is yes. I don't belong to the inner working of the party, so I don't know who and who is supposed to be in the party. But what I know is that in this country, we have many competent young people who can serve in these ministries in the capacity of a minister. In this country, we have many women who can serve in any of those capacities as a minister as well. Why was the decision made such that we don't have that quota? Also, it goes back to the compensation list, because the example you cited that over 60% people voted. We're not talking about the electorate. We're talking about the party structure. We're talking about the people who actively drove the victory that the president has. And so that is why it's a compensation list. I mean, there's a lady on the list, for example, whose last name is the same last name as the last Senate president, whose reason for being on that list is because, I mean, the work was ensuring that they captured the state for the presidency. So that is compensation. That is a woman, but that is compensation, not about competence. The argument is, let us have young people represented on the cabinet. Let us have women represented on the cabinet, and not just young people and not just women, but competent young people and competent women.
Well, do you see them changing their mind after the screening exercise? Because the list is already out. Some people say the entire process is just a formality. Do you agree with that?
I agree, because it was just bow and go. It was bow and go. No serious question was asked by anyone. And that, again, is the danger of a one-party system. Because there are no checks and balances. So it means whatever the president wants will happen. So when it goes to Senate, the way the government is supposed to be structured, the reason we have three tiers of government is so that there will be checks and balances. But there's no room for checks and balances with the way things are going. So the Senate should be able to say no to something, and then the president should come up with a superior argument why that thing should be. But from this foundation that we're saying now, nothing like that would happen. Whatever the president says, everybody, they all come together and say, yes, that's the direction to go. It shouldn't be bow and go. You should come, they should ask you a few questions, challenge your authority, ask a few questions, and see that we can confidently commit the ministry to the hands of whoever the nominee is. But that's not what happened.
I'm being told we have limited time, but the bow and go, that is, it's like something that is now being capitalized on to just ask people to come, go. There's no need for the screening. What's your take on that?
So, if we are a serious set of people and we want to show that we have integrity, we want to show the public that the names we have on this list, they are competent people. How can we do that? One of the opportunities we have is the Senate engagement. Ask 3 questions or 4 questions, and then let the person share. And let the electorates, those who voted to have you in office, let them be convinced that the individuals rather.
No, but the argument is that these people have a track record. They were members of the House, previous Senate. They've done something. So for the House to be, screening their own again doesn't seem.
Where's the place of transparency? What's the place of transparency? So is it a we thing? The concept of man, no man. So because I'm confident that you are okay, does it mean the electorate is confident? No. Then when we're talking about track record, is track record about performance or about position? Because what I hear is that they've been there before, that is position. What is their performance? I expect that the conversation that they had with the screening should be a place to showcase their performance. And it's not about anything propaganda, but performance. What exactly have you done? How many bills did you sponsor as a senator, as a minister? How many projects that we can see in life that is touching the average man on the street can we see? Not just about position, it is about performance.
Abiola, thank you very much for your time this morning.
Thank you for having me.